I think it's working. Okay. Sangin chedan zoye chonam la chanjo pardon dane gyapso je da ye je zo ye ben sanam gin jola benje sangye jo para sho sangi chedan zoye chonam la chanjo pardon dane gyapso je da ye je zo ye ben sanam Jola Benjire Sangye Jubora Sho Sangye Chenam Zagye Chanam La Chancho Pardon Dane Gyabsuji Daye Jinson Giben Swenam Gin Jola Benjire Sangye Jubora Sho Zai Jimbengi Joji Medon Dharma Shirabai Ninde Boinde Sangye Shinto Mende Wai Rồi Nam Đại Xin La Chư Bồ Đề Sho Yi Đà Ma Guru Ra Nam Ra La Gam Đà Ra Ya Me. Okay. Um, okay. Okay. Greetings to everyone. Um, so we had a quite a long break. There was some okay. How many people? 22. Okay. All right, okay. And so the chapter that we have left last week is the chapter number 11. So we will now begin from chapter number 12. Yeah. So the
13
chapter number 12 is the 13 vices or 13 negative practices, if you like. Let me do the Tibetan first. Serna yoju chadang nyomle tang ngombe nga yel dyocha shedang tang rigdang sodang kyoba langcho tang wangdang chewe gyagwa dashin sik. English, look upon these as enemies: miserliness, cunningness, deceit, attachment, laziness, manifest pride, sexual attachment, hatred, and arrogance of caste, form, learning, youth, and the pride of great power. So there are some, in some books, it's written as miserliness. So I think it's a little bit of an older English that people don't use it that much nowadays. People most likely use stinginess. In some books, they translate it as greed. Anyways, so stinginess or miserliness is the mental attitude or the thought process, which basically you don't want to share your wealth, your property, whatever. You may have plenty, but you don't want to share with others. So that is called stinginess. The first one is the miserliness or stinginess, basically
Yeah.
not wanting to share what you have, even though you have more than enough. So, with stinginess, miserliness, or sometimes called greed, I mean, greed is the cause of stinginess, but stinginess and greed are two different things. So, some of the books have translated as greed, which is not authentic, not appropriate. It's a stinginess, the result of greed. Mm.
Yeah.
So, in regards to greed, in regards to stinginess, I would like to share a story. So I shared this story maybe a couple of years ago. So those of you who are following for a long time, for the last couple of years, you already you may recall that story. So this is a story of one particular lady from a noble family or aristocratic family, high class, noble class family. So she was well, obviously she's wealthy. But she, and as obviously as a noble lady, they have plenty, right? But the problem is that even though she is pious, she's spiritual, religious, devout, all that, but she is um, mm, um, not good in sharing or making offerings or so basically sharing is general part of generosity, part of when you make offerings, that's a part of sharing. When you make charity, that's part of sharing, right? So she's not good at sharing. So then her teacher found that everything else she is actually good. But when it comes to sharing, she could not do it at all. She's so stingy. And of course, stinginess comes from greed. So therefore, the teacher, the Lama, thought of a skillful means to solve the problem, solve her um, condition, to treat her condition. So she could not share. She could not bring to share. Do anyone remember the story? Any, by the way, if you that's good. If you don't remember, then I can make up any story. Yeah, so she could not share anything. She was so stingy. She basically stinginess comes from greed, and stinginess is also being unable to let go, right? Whatever you may have, no matter how many you have, you never enough for you. You cannot let go. So what the her lama, her teacher, devised a sort of a plan for her. So the Lama said, I know you don't want to share with anyone, but let's do this, right? So he told her that, for example, this book you don't want to share with anyone, uh, but let's do this. So you have this book in your right hand. Now give it to your left hand. So then later give it to the right hand. So whenever you are giving, be consciously aware that you are giving. So she was made to familiarize. She was trained to familiarize herself in the idea of giving. So when she's giving something, she makes sure that she is giving something. So basically, she becomes familiar with the idea of giving, and eventually, she becomes so good at giving from right hand to left hand, and and then she could give to her servants, and then to others, etc., etc. Then she became a great uh, philanthropist. She gave a lot to charity, like that. Now we go to the second one, which is cunning. Uh, sorry, is it cunning? Yes, it is cunning.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. So cunning is the uh, so here cunning. So in a lot of times, cunning is understood as some doing something nasty to people, but here, for a lack of better word, cunning is to be understood as an a plan or an idea to conceal one's own. So basically, cunningness and deceit, two of these. In Tibetan, we use two words, but we use them all the time. We use the word together that it sounds like one word. Um, in any case, so these are to be used together. So basically, cunningness here stands for hiding or concealing your own flaws, and deceit is to appear or to make appear what you don't have. So one is to hide you one cunningness is to hide one's own faults, and deceit is to pretend to have qualities that you actually don't have. That's
yeah,
cunningness and deceit here. So I'm not sure if that is the correct word for the cunning is the correct term. Does it mean conceal one's own flaws or not? I'm not sure about that. So basically, one is to conceal one's flaws. Okay, so the second flaw, the second fault, the 13 vices, right? 13 vices, 13 negative practices. The second one is to hide one's own flaws, and the third one is deceit. Basically, to deceive others, you make up something that you don't have. Mm. For example, when you say if you like con artist, right? When you tell people that if you invest this and that, I will make your money double, triple like that, which you cannot do, but you tell them you will do that. That's a deception. Um, so um, the second one is more like an evasion. So you're trying to evade from what you actually have done. It's a more like an evasion than an cunningness. So anyway, it's translated as cunningness. So to get the idea correctly, the second one is to number one is stinginess, right? Number two is to conceal or hide one's own flaws. The number three is to make up something that you don't actually have, or make up something that you actually don't have or cannot do, but you pretend to have it, or tell people that you can do it, even though you know that you cannot do it. So this is deception, deceive. Number three.
Yeah.
Next is attachment. So there are many forms of attachment. Attachment by itself is a quite vague, or to a bit of generic. But here, attachment means to be attached towards one's body and one's uh, mind. So mind here means one's idea. So people who have something like a property, wealth, whatever, they're attached to those things. And those who don't who just because you are not attached to your belongings, right? Your properties does not mean you don't have an attachment. Sometimes the attachment for monks, and for philosophers, for teachers, the attachment can be in the form of one's ideology, like my lineage, my tradition, uh, my my teacher, or whatever. So basically, being attached to that thing, even if something is incorrect within your own lineage or your own uh, tradition, you are not ready to accept it because you are too attached, too stuck within your own, let's say, group or root, whatever you may call it. So attachment can be of two things: mental and physical. Physical meaning wealth, property, etc., and mental meaning ideas, etc. So it doesn't necessarily have to be idea alone. Even name. Some people, even though they don't, yeah, some people, let's say, not being corrupt. Okay, not being corrupt. Okay, uh, not corrupt does not necessarily mean good in the spiritual sense, in a societal sense, or in the civic sense. Not corrupt is a good thing. But if you are not being corrupted because you fear that if I take bribes or get corrupted, then people will find out, and then my name will go to the drains, then you are not being morally uncorrupt. You are being socially uncorrupt, but morally you still have some negative intention there. So that is an attachment to one's fame, etc. So things like that. So attachment can be wide range of things: physical, mental, fame, and sometimes in terms of relationship, etc. So that's why in Dharma practice, in spiritual practice, uh, um, integrity is most important. Honesty is the most important thing. So you may appear to be doing something good, right? But if you don't observe your mind properly, then it can be something bad. Like I said, overprotecting your tradition, your lineage, you know, uh, your group, your sangha, your monastic, overprotecting, or even when there's something wrong, you try to hide them. That is wrong. Then, as I said, even if you are uncorrupt, right? So I'm not going to repeat it. So if you are uncorrupt, but you have to check morally, why are you being uncorrupt? Are you do you fear the infaminess? Do you fear that something bad will happen to you, or it will bring bad name to you, or you're doing it out of uh, integrity that no matter what, you're not going to be corrupt, right? Or are you being uncorrupt because you fear the name and this and that? So this is you have to be very honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, then you will never progress in the spiritual realm. You will, of course, accumulate merit by making offerings and doing charity, all that thing, but uh, it's gonna just get stuck there. Your spiritual practice will not go through. There will be no spiritual breakthroughs. It will be stuck there for a long time unless you face your own demons, so to speak, and be honest with yourself. Yeah. The same goes for monastics like myself, a monk or a teacher, whatever, Rinpoche. Uh, if I behave properly, because what people will think of me, if in order to make myself appear better or good or nice and whatever, I behave properly, then of course the behavior is good behavior, but it is not necessarily a moral behavior. Morally, I'm not being um, um, uh, and honest with myself. So the I will share you a story. Okay.
Yeah.
So the story is the story of Geshe Ben Gunken. Geshe Ben Gunken. Okay. Have you anyone heard of Geshe Ben Gunken?
Not yet, Rinpoche.
Okay. Yeah. So Geshe Ben Gungin is a great Kadamba master. Okay, Kadamba means the followers of Atisha. So when Atisha was alive, and right, the direct and the second direct disciples of Atisha, immediate direct disciples of Atishas were called. Atisha was called Kadamba masters. Okay, Kadamba. Geshe Ben Gungin, before he became a Geshe, or before he became a great master, he used to be a thief, a robber. Actually, he's quite famous, quite a famous, popular, quite a famous robber, widely known, well-known robber in Tibet. So Geshe Ben Gungin like that. So, but when he became a monk, and after becoming a Geshe, then he started to pay more attention to his practices, give up all of his negative habits, all these things. Then he was doing his usual regular practices, and as a he lives a very simple sort of life. He totally changed. Uh, then one day, one of his benefactors, his devotees, who always come to make offerings to him. So one of the big donors, is paying a visit to Kishila because he's becoming quite famous. And then yeah, so the big donor announced that he will be visiting Geshe-la tomorrow morning, and Geshe-la make all the arrangements to receive the big donor, and he make all the arrangements in the altar in his house, make everything nice and tidy, all the beautiful things. Setting, he made the perfect setting, and then uh, so that when the donor comes in, it will be such a delight for the donor, and he will be happy to see that. So his simple room now actually look like a magnificent temple, very well decorated, well lit, and then the incense and the lamp, everything so beautiful. Then he observed. So he sat down and looked at the altar, look at the surrounding. He was so happy with what he did. And he was so happy, and then all of a sudden he pondered, he thought deeply why he is doing that. This is not for the Buddha, because if it's for the Buddha, he could have done it every day. This is actually for the sponsor, right? But it's not for the not for this. He's doing that for the donor, but it's also not for the donor because the donor is not going to take any of that. Basically, he's feeling his own ego to make the donor feel that he is an important geshe. He looks good. He appears nice. All this and that. And then right before the important donor, the VIP, is coming to the house, maybe like 5 minutes before or so. Geshe went outside, pick up some dirt, and throw all the dirt on the altar, uh, on the shelf, on the altar, and then blow away all the lights and make it as dirty as possible. And when the VIP donor came inside, the benefactor came into the room, he was totally shocked. And of course, he was shocked and he left. He went back. He thought that Geshe-la is still not dropped his old habits of being a, because he used to be a robber, so he still have those negative traits. And then he left. But then at that moment, there was an exclamation uh, from the sky saying that this offering by Geshe Bengkungen is the best offering of all, because this is the offering of giving up one's ego. There was another story, okay? Mm, it's okay if I say
Dạ,
one more story, if I tell
dạ.
one more story, it's okay?
Thầy kể thêm câu chuyện nữa có được không, có đạo hữu ơi?
Okay.
Dạ.
So another time, that time Geshe Bengkungen even more famous now, okay? So Geshe Bengkungen then one day he went to house blessing, right? To see some people's house, do some prayer, etc. And because all habits die hard, right? All habits are very hard to abandon. So he was doing the prayer and everything, and he was sitting in the altar room. So he was sitting inside the um, the home owner. Uh, she went to the kitchen, cooking some food, whatever. Meanwhile, Geshe-la, because he used to be a thief before, and without thinking much, even though he's praying and all that, all of a sudden, uh, he went to steal something from the house. So when the owner is not looking, he actually went. So basically, in Tibet those days, they keep the mm, lump of butter, okay, butter to make to we use butter for everything, right? For cooking, for making tea, etc., for making torma, everything. So his hand actually went, and actually stealing a butter lump of butter is a big thing that those days. Mm. Because there isn't the system of money or currency involved in those days. So you steal something like a big butter lump of a butter, that's actually a big you're committing a big crime. Anyway, so Geshe-la stole the butter, and then after he steal the butter, immediately he understood that he made a mistake, and actually nobody saw him doing that. But then all of a sudden he shouted, "There's a thief in the house! There's a thief in the house! Come and catch the thief!" like that. And of course, everybody was all of a sudden the Geshe-la is inside there, and some thief come to steal. So everyone was shocked, and they come to, they come with stick and different weapons, and they want to beat the hell out of the thief. But when they come in the room, there's no thief. There's no just the Geshe-la there, and then they were like, "Where's the thief? Where's the thief?" And Geshe-la was holding the butter in his hand. See, this is the thief. This is the thief. I have caught the thief now. Now you can punish the thief like that.
Dạ,
Yeah. So he was being honest with himself.
dạ.
Even his negative actions, negative activity, even though he is considered very high geshe by that time because he's a good teacher, good practitioner, but because of his early old habits, sometimes he get to steal. When he do negative thing, he just tell people that he did that thing. So he's very unpretentious. And and of course he grew more respect. He gained more respect from then onwards. Many of the Kadamba masters have similar stories like that, being truthful. Uh, so being honest, being truthful, not just to others, but being truthful to yourself. If by being truthful to yourself, you are able to conquer, or you are able to get rid of the most evasive and the most cunning, if you like, um, uh, negative trait within oneself, which is self-deception, lying to yourself, self-deception, deceiving yourself uh, making up excuses, this and that. So by doing so, you're able to directly cut through the illusion. And that's why the Kadamba masters were within one lifetime, two lifetime, very shortly, they're able to advance in their practices like that. Yeah. Now, that is the attachment, right? Attachment. Okay. Now, next is laziness. Uh, so laziness, sometimes called idleness too. So basically, laziness is not being lazy is not doing your what you have to do, etc. So here, laziness is not about just any kind of laziness. Here, when they say laziness here, actually means laziness towards virtuous activity, uh, positive actions like call it, let's say, doing your prayers, prostrations, making offerings, accumulating merit, etc. Anything virtuous activity, helping others, uh, not getting angry, all the um, engaging in the positive actions and avoiding negative actions. So when when you become lazy or when you give up your when you give up the let's say the desire to engage in the virtuous activities. Virtuous activity means not doing the 10 negative things and doing the 10 positive things. So when you give up on that, when you don't engage in those things, when you give up yourself too early instead of engaging in those things, that is called laziness here. So it's not about like just any laziness, but it's laziness towards positive actions. Laziness. Okay. So laziness is not ordinary laziness, but laziness towards virtuous activity. Okay. Yeah. Uh, then next is manifest pride. So in the sutra, there are seven types of pride, or seven types of uh, egoism is mentioned. So I think the first one is manifest pride. Uh, so manifest pride basically is to take pride in something that you are not. Okay. Um, there's nothing special about you, but you think you are something special. There is nothing. Uh, you have not done something that is out of ordinary, but you think you have done something in such and such. So basically, being proud of something that you have not actually achieved, but you think you have achieved, or something that you don't have, but you think you have. I have a special, I have a special ability to read people's mind, and so then I feel special. I feel, and because of that, I feel I'm different from others. And I think in today's society, a lot of people are victim of that thing, especially in the West. People think that everybody that they all think they're different, and they're all same in the sense that they are different. So basically, everyone is same in thinking that they are different. So if everyone is different, then there is not no difference or nothing unique. If everybody is unique, then there is nothing unique about your uniqueness. Uh, in any case, I'm just deviating from the subject, but the most important thing is mindful pride. Sorry, uh, manifest pride basically means manifesting an quality or a property or something that you actually don't have, and then taking pride in it. So basically, illusory pride. That's manifest pride. Oh, what is next? Okay, is that okay? Then is sexual attachment. Uh, yeah, that's basically attachment towards carnal desire, uh, having yeah, that is attachment, hatred. Mm. So uh, uh, sexual attachment basically most likely comes from attachment towards the body, uh, sometimes towards the mind, or like you can have attachment towards someone's um, intelligence, but most of the time it's directed towards the um, physical appearance, and maybe towards the one's behavior, etc. And yeah, so the next one is sexual attachment. Yeah. So when you say so the actual term used is lust. But here, anyway, so it doesn't actually have to be the actual engagement uh, uh, of physical activity itself. So all the actions leading towards that, all the thought process, all the actions, basically everything that you do directing towards that. So in regards to that, I will share some story, but this will come on the following chapter. So I will go to I will refer to it later. Okay. So the next is hatred. So hatred is a strong desire to harm others, destroy others, etc. That one. Then that is hatred. So actually, the first one, pride, and then greed, as well as the lust, these are actually part of the seven sins in Christianity as well. And then anyway, so the point here is that these are the 13 vices or 13 uh, negative traits, actions, something that you should be avoiding. So Nagarjuna is saying that view as enemies. So think of all these things, all the 13 vices, as your most, how do you call that? N- your biggest enemies. So what is an enemy? Enemy is someone that is trying to bring you down, something that wants to bring harm to you. That is an enemy. So if you engage in any of those 13 vices, that will actually bring you down, that will actually make you fall down very hard. So therefore these are the 13 enemies that you should be aware of, beware of, and avoid at all times and all cost.
Yeah.
So you might think that if something like sexual desire or sexual intercourse is a vice, then if it should be avoided, then how we can procreate? How can the world continue, right? So here, what you have to understand is it is referring to sexual craze, okay? Sexual craze, just becoming crazy about having sex, etc. Not necessarily about making love or procreating in general. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I think I've okay. Okay. I think I've skipped a few. So that hatred, right? I have covered hatred. Now there is a arrogance. Okay, arrogance of arrogance is something that I have left. So arrogance of what? Arrogance of caste, one. Arrogance of form, uh, another one. Arrogance of learning, arrogance of youthfulness, and the arrogance or pride of having a great power or being powerful. These are all these together is 13 vices. So arrogance of caste. So in India, those days, from Buddha's time, there's the caste system, the Brahmin at the top and the Shudras at the bottom. So, like that. The caste system is very sophisticated uh, and it's very powerful. It's mm, um, how do you call this thing? So, uh, um, So even though it is talking about caste, but basically caste comes from birth. So according to the Hindu belief system, it is that those who are born of a let's say a Brahmin caste, which is a higher caste, then they can do this and this and that. But others cannot do this and this and that, right? So so by birth, so in today's language, you can call it race. So that is basically racism. So being proud of being arrogant of one's own race, um, racial discrimination, and uh, um, you know, racial superiority, that my race is higher than yours. Because I am Tibetan, I come from the highest plateau on the world. So that's why the Tibetan race, the Tibetan people are the highest and the best of all, because we come from the top of the world. And then those who live in the bottom line, they are low caste. And actually, it's like that. For example, in India, those the so-called Brahmins, most of the system initially came from the upper caste system, come from the upper areas, and those who are down south, where I used to live in South India, the there was a time when all the people in down south were considered low caste, etc. So racism, so casteism or racism, so discriminating people because of their so-called low birth, and because I am of higher birth, that means I am a higher. Um, I don't have to do anything just because I was born in a high caste, upper caste family, upper caste tradition. That means I am better than all of you. So that sort of arrogance is to be eliminated. That it should be avoided. So we are not saying that you should not be proud of your family or your birth in general, or your country or your nationality. You should be proud of your nationality. You should be proud of your family, all these things. Okay. So arrogance basically means I am superior because I'm superior to you. I'm better than you because I was born in this. So that is what arrogance is. Just being proud of your family's achievement, your family's contribution, or your nation's contribution. So that is important. If you talk about good things, all nations have done good things. If you talk about bad things, every country in the world has done terrible things too. So none of us are better or worse than each other. So we are basically the same thing. Whoever comes to power tries to dominate over the other. That is the kind of the thing that we live in. So history has been repeating itself in circulation. So whenever whoever is more powerful, they try to dominate over the other. So that is the kind of life. That is samsara, basically, samsara. But we have done good things, be proud of that. We have done bad things, acknowledge that, and try to rectify those mistakes. That is important. So that is the arrogance of caste or arrogance of racism. Uh, so basically, there are a couple of arrogance, okay? One is the caste. The next is form. So form basically means appearance, because you look. So this is to do with beauty. This is to do with your skin color, etc., etc. So just because I mean, you should be grateful. You should be proud that you are beautiful. You are handsome. You look nice. You look attractive. It is something to be proud of. It is something to be confident about. It is something that you can carry with yourself. But if you bring arrogance into your beauty or your looks, this and that, then it's going to impede. It's not going to make you, it's going to make you less attractive. Uh, arrogance means because I look handsome, so I'm better than you. Because I look more, my skin color is more fair, white, that means I'm better than you. So skin color, that means that it doesn't really mean much. If you have a white skin, that's good. If you have a black skin, that's also good. But if you think you are better because you have white skin, actually, if you have skin conditions called albino, you become totally white, and that is not very beautiful, actually. Everything, all of your body appears white, like that. Just because of your appearance, it is not worthy of being arrogant. The same goes for learning. If you have knowledge, that is good. Share with people. You can be proud of that, proud in a good sense. But if you become arrogant with your learning, then it's of no use to nobody, not to yourself, not to others, nobody. The same goes with youthfulness. If you use your youthfulness, you are young, you are youth, You can use that to achieve great things. Uh, but if you are just being arrogant about your youthfulness, then there is nothing to. Uh, it is pointless to be arrogant about your youthfulness because it's not gonna stay long. It's eventually it's gonna evaporate, and so etc etc. Instead of being arrogant about your qualities, it is better to utilize them in the most helpful, most beneficial way for yourself and others. And the last one is the power. If you have power, if you're just arrogant and then use it mindlessly, it's not going to be helpful to anyone. But if you use it to benefit, if you use it to uplift the society, then your power becomes truly like unlimited power. Yeah. Now go to next chapter, next verse number 13. Tibetan. Pagyu duzi nete pameba chiwe nesu tube katzel to. Dewe kyuki gechwe pelle tu kube tato padang chebar zeus. In English, um, to practice heedfulness, the sage said that heedfulness is the source of the nectar, and heedlessness is the source of death. Hence, to increase your virtue with respect, always remain heedful. So basically, this is talking about the the qualities of being heedful. So heedful is so there are many different ways to understand heedfulness. So the Tibetan word is pagyupa. Okay, uh, it can be it is translated sometimes as mindfulness. It is translated as awareness. It is translated as um, uh, so one of in some of the scholastic works, some of the philosophical works, you will find a term known as conscientiousness. So many people haven't even heard of that word. Uh, so it is actually the nature of being conscious, conscientiousness. So there's a word like that. It's a very long word, and so what it basically means is being aware or paying heed. Or another translation is some of the simple translation usually do like carefulness, being careful of what you are doing. So carefulness, heedfulness, awareness, mindfulness, okay, uh, and then conscientiousness. So being conscientious, many ways to translate this. So translate this. So basically, the idea is to be aware, or in today's English, it is more likely mindful. So being aware is what this is talking about. What this chapter is talking about, being mindful, being careful. So careful sounds like there's something to be wary of, something that is dangerous going on. That's why we have to be careful. So careful may not be the right term. Heedful means paying attention. It can mean attentiveness too. So anyway, it's a combination of the Tibetan word pagyuba. The word yuba means to have. Pa is the term. So the Tibetan term pa can substitute for, in English, it can substitute for carefulness, heedfulness, mindfulness, conscientiousness, attentiveness, and all that. So there's only one word in Tibetan, pa. Yoba means to have. Pa yoba, to have pa. So that actually stands for all of these things in English. I don't know if you have a proper substitute for that in equal term, term in Vietnamese or Chinese or other languages, but that is the Tibetan term, pa. So pa, when you say pa in general Tibetan, it actually means calm. To be calm, you have to be aware. If you are not aware, you cannot be calm. Uh, so anyway, this is talking about Pa Yueba, which means all these things: carefulness, attentiveness, mindfulness, conscientiousness, awareness, and all the rest of it. Carefulness, yeah. So need to clarify one thing. So on the first verse, it says uh, the sage. Okay, sage is a reference to the Buddha. Um, okay, the Buddha said, the sage said means the Buddha said that heedfulness is the source of the nectar. So for a lack of better word, better term in English, it's been translated as nectar. So a more appropriate word in English is something called ambrosia. Uh, but anyway, nectar, when it's translated from Sanskrit, amrit, which is translated into Tibetan as duzi, both have the meaning, have the meaning of mm, uh, stopping death, okay, halting death. I don't know if the English word nectar has the same uh, connotation or not. Maybe you have a proper word in your own languages, but the Tibetan word du zi is the translation for substitute for the Sanskrit word amrit. So a is negative, mrit means life, life negative, which means no life, which means no end to life. So which means uh, eternity. Or immortality, sorry. So heedfulness or conscientiousness is immortality, which is good, and heedlessness is death, which is bad. So usually in the society, we think of no death as good and death as bad, right? So it is saying that heedfulness or mindfulness or awareness is having awareness is immortal. Having awareness is nectar or amrit, no death. Having not having awareness is death, like that. Also the word sage. So for a lack of a better word in English, it's translated as sage for simple understanding. But it in Tibetan we call it tang song, which comes from the Sanskrit term rishi. Okay, so rishi is someone who may be doing meditation, may not be doing meditation. Someone may not be speaking for a long time, whatever. So anyway, rishi is someone who goes by the truth. In Tibetan, tang song. Tang means direct, song means straight, straight and direct. So that is the term used for the sages. So sages in general does not have to be the Buddha, but here in most of the time in many of the when they say the sage in general, it is referred to the Buddha. In general, like there are Buddhist sages, there are Hindu sages, so many rishis. So the Sanskrit term rishi also means someone that goes straight. So that someone that goes straight basically means someone that does not tell a lie, someone that does not, evade, someone that is not deceptive, someone that is not coercing other to do things that they don't want to do. Basically, someone that goes as he should go. That is a rishi. And for a lack of a better word, they use the term sage. If you follow the news, especially political news, the previous Prime Minister of United Kingdom, England, is a man by the name of Rishi Sunak. Rishi. So he's a man of Indian origin. So yeah, Rishi. So Rishi does not necessarily have to be a sage in that sense. Anyway, so there are two verses dedicated to mindfulness or heedfulness or carefulness. Okay, so the first one is talking about the reason why you should be heedful or be attentive because mindful or heedful being heedful is immortality, brings you immortality, and being heedless will bring you death. So it means it will bring you down. If you are mindful, it will bring you up. Basically, there is one full chapter, okay, dedicated to heedfulness in the uh, Shantideva's way of the Bodhisattva, and it's a beautiful chapter. It's actually one of my favorite chapters within the. So It's called the chapter on conscientiousness because conscientiousness, heedfulness, carefulness, all this mean the same thing. So it says the mindful, if you are heedful, you have that immortality, the nectar of immortality. If you are not heedful or heedless, then you have death. Uh, then everything crumbles down. And then to prove that point, the next verse number 14, uh, brings um, the stories of people who have been uh, heedful or heedless, etc., like that. Okay, now I will go to the next verse. Um, Verse number 14. One, so it is saying that it is important to be heedful, or it is important to be heedful to begin with, because uh, that is immortality. But even if you are not heedful to begin with, but later you realize your mistakes, and then you want to reverse your actions, negative actions, and you want to become heedful, then that is also commendable. That is also it will be like a moon that has come out of a cloudy night. So during a cloudy night, there is total darkness, but after the clouds been removed, the moon shines resplendently. Tibetan Payu number 14. Kanshi ngunje pame gyurbarla chine padang tembar gyurdeyang dawa tinde tabur namzete gawo sorteng tongde dejeshins. English: one who has formerly been heedless, but later becomes heedful, like, okay, I'm not very sure there should be a like here or not. Uh, One who has formerly been heedless, but later becomes heedful, will also be resplendent like the moon, free from the clouds, as in the case of Nanda, Anglimala, Ajatsatru, and Udayan. Yeah. So, yeah. Now we have to go through the story of Nanda, which is attachment, Anglimala, which is hatred, and Ajatsatru, which is heedlessness or carelessness, as well as greed and um, um, power hungry, or so you can call it lust, hunger, as well as like that. And then the last one is of ignorance. So first we will go with Nanda. So the first one is story of Nanda, and Nanda uh, can be understood as Cubit, the Greek god. Is it Greek god or whatever god that was? So the god of love. Nanda actually in Sanskrit means lover, and so Nanda is a cousin of the Buddha, and Nanda is how to say. So that's what I was going to come up to. So in our 12th chapter, we talk about sex craze. So that is what Nanda is. Nanda is a victim of that. Uh, so Nanda is always thinking about that thing. Okay, so he has a very strong sexual craving, and this is the only thing that he can think of. And he's even despite being the cousin of the Buddha, he just wastes his life doing engaging in sexual activity at all times, day and night. So I will share the story of Nanda and Anglimala, if time permits, right? Okay. So maybe in 10 minutes, we will do Q&A, okay? Uh, so you can prepare for the questions if you have any. So first Nanda. So Nanda, as I said, means lover. It's a male name, masculine name. Nanda has a lover by the name of Nandini. So Nanda and Nandini in Hindi language, usually when there is a E, it's a female. It's a A, that's usually a male. Anyway, that's not important. So Nanda has a lover by the name of Nandini. So he is always thinking about her, and even when he comes to the Buddha to seek blessing, he is still thinking about her. And then Buddha was aware of the whole thing, and he saw within Nanda, he has the potential to become Arhat in this lifetime. And so therefore he needs to tame Nanda. And for that, he gave the task to Shariputra. So she told Shariputra to uh, tame Nanda. Um, so Shariputra, uh, because Shariputra has, is wise and then also has miraculous power too. So Shariputra taught Nanda about the precious human life, not to waste your life, etc., etc. And then you must not get attached to this and that. And Nanda was listening to Shariputra, but his mind is still going to Nandini. And so basically, he cannot focus at all. And Shariputra knew there's something, he has to fix this. So Shariputra said, "Do you want to go for a walk with me?" And then Nanda said, "Yeah." And then Shariputra brought him to a distant land. So basically, there are many planets in the universe. So he brought him to one of the planets where there is filled with, let's say, um, a land of beauty queens. And then uh, when he got there, uh, Nanda was so happy, and of course he forgot Shariputra's advice, and of course he also forgot Nandini because he saw a girl, let's say, 10 times more beautiful than uh, Nandini. And then Shariputra asked, "Are they beautiful? Are those ladies beautiful?" "Yes, they are so beautiful." Uh, do you love them? Are you attracted by them? "Yes, I am attracted by them." "What about Nandini then?" "What? Who's Nandini?" Right? He even forgot Nandini like that. Yeah. So from that planet to, there's a 33 levels of heavenly gods. So he took Nanda and Nandini both, okay? So they were all together. So he took them from that sorry, just Nanda. I'm getting mixed up. So he took Nanda to the god realm, like the first god realm, second, third. So each time the angels are more beautiful than the previous one. So he keeps not only forgetting Nandini, but he keeps forgetting the previous god realm as the more advanced, more higher god realms starts getting more and more attractive, smells nice, looks nice, this and that. So eventually he reached to the 33rd level of heaven, and then the god that the heaven the 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 angels on that level are indescribable, and he just forgot all his everything everything. Then he was in pure heaven, right? And then, so Shariputra thought that he will now forget Nandini, and then now he will come to do practice. But it actually has an adverse effect on Nanda. Instead of becoming a better practitioner, he was now attracted to the gods in the 33rd realm, and now he wants to be with them, sleep with them, etc., etc. And then Shariputra said, "Okay, now this is not, you know, this method does not work with you. So let's go for another tour." So what then Shariputra brought Nanda to the hell realm. Okay. And so I'm not going to go into the details. So there's actually 18 types of hell realm. So he was taken from one to another. So he saw so many people suffering this and that, and he got so scared and everything. And then eventually he saw a place where there people were uh, like put in a cast, something, a bowl, a cauldron, a big bowl shaped like a human being, and then they are being boiled in that thing. Okay, so there's so many people being boiled alive, etc., etc. And basically there were two empty bowls, empty cauldrons, and obviously Nanda was like totally scared by that time. And then even though he could guess what that is for, but he just asked out of curiosity what that is for. And then the people working in the hell realm, usually called the guardians of the hell realm. So the guardians, the staff, the guardians said, "Oh, this is actually," they don't recognize him, right? So they said, "Oh, this is actually for one of the cousins of Buddha, whom the Buddha was very kind enough to teach the Dharma, and he never changed his ways. He always thinks about Nandini and engaging in this and that." And then eventually, through his merit in this life and the previous life, in his next life, he will actually be born in the heavenly realm and enjoy all the good things that he has actually he will be witnessing, which he actually already witnessed, up to the 33 realm, everything. And after that, uh, after using all his merits, all his good karma, then when all his good karma has been depleted, then he will be born in the hell realm, and this is where he's going to be boiled up for uh, millions of years. And when Nanda heard that thing, he was super scared. And then he told Shariputra to take him back to the earth. And he came back, and then he told the same, he narrated the whole story to Nandini. And then they both sort of decided to become followers of the Buddha in the sense of becoming a Sangha. So Nandini become a nun, and Nanda become a monk. And then later, through their perseverance, through their practices, penance, everything, they become arahats in this lifetime. Okay, so I will skip Angulimala this time because we are. Uh, I will reserve that for the questions now.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, so I will wait a little bit, and if there is no questions, then I will maybe narrate the story of Angulimala, and then we will stop here for today. Okay, maybe I will just continue with the Angulimala story. I will
Yeah.
make it short. I think the people are already aware of the Angulimala story anyway, so I'm just going to make it short. Uh, Oh, it's okay. Someone wants to be unmuted. iPhone 58. Where is it? Someone is asking to be unmuted.
One person who have question, Rinpoche.
Right. Did it, did they send you the question or?
Not yet
Oh,
I request them to
so
send.
sorry. Hi.
Quiet,
Sorry.
quiet.
You good?
I
Sorry.
can hear you. Quiet, please.
Okay, cool. I was just trying to clarify when Nanda was in the Hell Realm. You said there was somebody in some type of a coffin. You called it a tusk.
Mm-hmm.
What was it
Husk.
called?
So it's actually a cauldron. Cauldron is like where you cook food. Big,
Uh-huh.
yeah, cauldron, but in the shape of so it's similar to um, um, a coffin, right? Mm.
I was just trying to clarify the word you used. Was it a
Oh,
cusk?
cauldron. I use the term cauldron.
Oh.
Cauldron. Yeah, cauldron.
Oh, I thought you said like cusk or cask or something. I was
Yeah,
lost
yeah.
in the...
No, I said cauldron. Yes. Mhm.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Aegis. Aegis is a good friend of mine. Thank you for the question, Aegis. Um,
Rinpoche, there's one question.
okay, there's another question now. Um, Yes. Am I inquire whether fear can also serve as a motivation for deeper spiritual practice? Absolutely, yes. So the question is, yeah, can fear make someone practice better? That it does, it does, and that's why the term "I'm a God-fearing man" that is very popular among, I mean, all religions, and I mean, we must be good, not because we fear God, right? That is not how it should be, but then fearing the fear of God actually makes us a better person in many religion. Okay, I'm not talking just in Buddhism. In Buddhism, we don't accept the idea of a creator God, but then we have the idea of the hell realm. And for a large number of people, we do good things because we don't want to be born in the hell realm. And not only hell realm, a lot of people don't want to come back to this world because there's this life itself is filled with samsaric suffering. Yeah. So
Yeah.
fear can be a good motivator. When we were young, when I was young, um, my fear of my teacher's stick make me study well.
Yeah. Yeah.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama said that for him also there's a motivator. They use the whip, the whip.
Yeah. Yeah.
So His Holiness and his brother, they both have the two whips. His brother has the leather whip, ordinary kind of whip, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama has a whip embroidered with brocade, the silk. So His Holiness always jokes that even though it's made of silk, but it still hurts.
Yeah.
It's a good motivator for him when he
Yeah.
was young. Okay. I think that's about it now, right? So
Yeah.
let's save the other stories for next week.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh yeah, and I just want to remind you that fear can also serve as yeah. Okay, let's just stop here because there's once again, thank you everyone. I have been away for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and for thank you for your patience, and thank you for attending once again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will make sure I will follow the routine
Yeah.
from now onwards. Yeah, if I don't follow the routine, then you can use the stick.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay, dedication, please. Gewan de nyurdo da lama sang drubjuro nen drowa che jang ma ba keje sala ge bara sho chanju semjo rembonj ma ge banam ge yuro je ge ba nyam ba me bara yang kone kondo be wara sho mi men ze wen de re jen chen re se che me ken be wang bon jan be yang de boy ma lu jo mon ze sang wen dang gan jen ken ben zo gen zong gan ba lo zan tai be shai lai soi wan dem lo zan tai be shai lai soi wan dem Dembe Ningbo, Zembe Benga Xin Naman Doju Gun La Changchu, Lapsan Chuye Nyamzu Chogun To Tengen Choden Tamba, so on the.
Thank you, Zibuchela. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Miss Wang. Thank you, Mr. Hong, and thank you everyone.
Cảm
Thank
ơn
you,
anh.
Rinpoche.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rinpoche.
thank
Cảm ơn
you.
Hưng ạ.
Xin
Cảm ơn
cảm
Have a
ơn
great
đạo sư.
weekend.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Cảm ơn
Yeah.
Hưng nhé.